Fishing inside of Once Human is a little bit more complicated than I think it needs to be, and I think the main factor to that is the lack of any proper UI explanation as to what is going on. I've already made a video breaking down exactly how to fish more efficiently inside of Once Human, but since then we've had some more time to dig into the system, and there is a little bit more to it than to just find the hotspot, which was the main point in the last video. Today I'm gonna break down exactly what I mean by that hotspot, as well as the nuances to this entire system, so that hopefully you stop losing as many fish. I maybe will lose 1 out of every 20 fish nowadays, and that's typically because I was not paying attention right at the very beginning of catching the fish. Let's go ahead and jump on into it here. I'm going to start off right at the point where we got a bite and right where we start reeling. I'm gonna freeze frame the video here so I can bring up this bar at the bottom, which is labeled break and slack. When you first start off a bite, you're gonna be sitting at 100% slack, which in real life would probably lead to a fish spitting it out, but in the game, this is good. This is what you're looking for. You want this bar as high as you can get it. The bar above it is labeled escaped and hook, which essentially means captured. The entire goal here is to fill that top bar without depleting the bottom bar. You see almost immediately after we hook this fish that the slack bar begins to drop. I'm gonna freeze frame the video here again because I want to bring up this display here to somewhat describe what I am talking about with the hotspot when it comes to fishing. You can essentially picture a circle around your character, if you will, because when you're holding left click and you move your mouse in any direction, your character will turn that direction. Within this circle, there is going to be what I am calling a hotspot. If you get yourself facing the position of this hotspot, you will start to reel in the fish, while at the same time, you will stop progressing towards breaking your line. Something I neglected to mention in the first video is that this hotspot is dynamic, meaning that at any point in time throughout this circle around you, if you will, the hotspot can shift and move. The best way that I have found to determine where exactly the hotspot is to hold left click while I very slowly shift my character's rotation. While I'm shifting my character's rotation, I am paying attention to the break and slack bar, because like I said before, this bar should be depleting as soon as you hook the fish. So I will rotate my character while I am keeping an eye on this bar, and the moment that the bar stops depleting is when I know that I have entered at least a region close to that hotspot, because I have stopped the bleed, if you will. You see in this example, I stop the bleed for a second here, but then I continue past that point and the bleed continues to happen. So I move it back to the hotspot, and again, you can see this break and slack bar stop going down. At this point, the escape and hooked bar has not moved at all. And I'm assuming that this is where a lot of people are panicking and still moving their camera around, trying to get that hooked bar to go up, rather than just holding in the position that is preventing the line from breaking. Because if you see, as I hold it in this position here, that break line starts to go back up, and then immediately the hooked line goes back up and we reel in the fish with ease. On the very second cast here, it is essentially the same thing. You see, as soon as we hook the fish, the break bar is dropping. And in this example, you can actually see when we walk ourselves into the hot spot that the break and slack bar jumps up. This is another good way and a good thing to keep an eye on, but it's not the only way to know. Like I said before, as soon as that break bar is going down and stops going down, you can assume that that is the place that you should hold your line in to reel in that fish. In this example, even though I think that I'm in the hot spot because my break and slack bar shot up as I got into this spot, as you watch this play out, you will see that that bar is continuing to deplete. But holding it in that position, you see eventually it catches itself back into play, because again, we are in that hot spot. I think the problem here is that there's like a lack of UI that indicates that if you are even pointing in the right direction, if there was even something that would indicate that you're pointing in the optimal direction to be reeling in the fish, I think a lot of people would be not struggling with this as much. Again, the bar, the hot spot itself is dynamic, meaning this thing is moving. So there is a chance that even though you found the spot, that it maybe shifted slightly over and maybe you were right on the edge of it and it pushed you just outside of that spot, and now you're starting to lose the fish, in which case you will need to adjust. The hardest thing here is, and where I lose the most fish is if I do not find the hot spot before the break bar is entirely depleted, because at that point in time, I don't know where I'm mitigating damage. Let me know down in the comments if this managed to help explain what's going on with fishing at all inside of Once Human and what you guys would maybe do to make it more immediately understandable. But that's all the information I wanted to go over in this video. I hope you guys have an amazing day. I'm out.